Welcome back to my kitchen. I used up my last jar of baked beans yesterday, so it's time to can some more. Join me. I'm using these beans, Anasazi beans, for my baked beans, and under the assumption that the dry beans will swell up in the process at least 3 times of the original size. In my canner here, I can only put 10 pints at a time, and I'm gonna just start soaking them in cold water for about 2 hours. So here's my 6 cups of beans soaking in 12 cups of cold water. I drained off the soaking water, replaced with fresh cold water. I'm gonna boil the beans and cook it for 20 minutes. The cooking process doubled these in size. I'm gonna use brown sugar, but this is a mix of brown sugar and some organic sugar, only because I didn't have enough brown sugar. I will be using apple cider vinegar, raw chopped onions. I want to use my own canned tomato sauce. The better option would be using ketchup if you have it, but instead of ketchup and water, I'm gonna use this tomato sauce that's more of a juice really. And because I'm not using ketchup, I'm gonna also use a little bit of garlic powder. Other ingredients you're gonna need is some mustard. I'm gonna use some of this sauce as well to give it a sort of an underlying flavor. For the water, I'm just gonna use this kettle. I'm gonna boil the tomato sauce. We're also gonna need some salt. The next thing I'm gonna put in is the dry ingredients. I'm gonna start with the salt, half teaspoon in each jar. Next, garlic powder, about half teaspoon as well in each jar. A little more. For the sugar, I'm putting a generous 1/4 cup in each jar. I like it on the sweet side. Again, this is mostly brown sugar. Next, I'm gonna put just a little bit of mustard, maybe a half a teaspoon in each. Okay, teaspoon in each. Smells so good. I'm also gonna put some of this sauce, just a few drops in each jar. Next, I'm gonna put in some vinegar. You can use any vinegar. I'm using apple cider because I have it. It's 1 tablespoon. It's gonna give it a good zing besides the mustard. Remember, I put a lot of sugar, so we are just balancing the taste. Onion in here as well. You can use dried onion, a tablespoon each, or a 1/4 cup of onion in each jar. Chopped onions go in. The jar is filling up, as you can see. We are about 3/4 of the way filling the jars. Nice and hot. I'm gonna start heating up my canning water in the pressure canner. I have a couple of cups left, so I'm gonna just distribute that evenly among the jars. I don't need any leftover tomato sauce at this point. This seems to be low. I'm gonna take a wooden spoon and kind of mix this all up so it can de-bubble and also mix up the ingredients a little bit. I kind of want to fill them all equally. And lastly, I'm going to take hot water out of the kettle and fill up the rest of the way, which is the bottom of my funnel. And that's going to give me enough headspace. Again, I'm going to go around and just mix it all up. Make sure they're all on the same level. No bubbles trapped in the liquid in between the layers. And remember, this will still be expanding as far as the beans go, so it looks a little liquidy right now, but it's gonna get thicker because it will cook. So they all look even, but checking the headspace. Yes, you can have some utensils to do that, but number one, I know that the bottom of my funnel is creating a 1-inch headspace, as you can see. Also, you can use your finger to measure that. That's 1 inch. Be careful because it's hot, but you can see that's how much headspace I have. Next job is to wipe the rims and the threads. I'm just using a wet paper towel. See how it's a little dirty, so we have to make sure that it's clean to take the seal. I'm gonna just drop the lids into the canner water right now, just to first of all wash them off a little bit, and also because I want the seals to soften a little even more. And then I'm gonna take them out pretty quickly. I'm not gonna boil them, again just making them hot. And while I'm at it, I'm gonna put the rings in here too. Put on the lids, nice hot, soft lids. Put on the hot rings as well. Start screwing them on. There we go. So do a final tightening, not too tight, just enough so it holds the lid down. And I'm going to start putting them into the pressure canner. They're looking good, aren't they? So here are my 10 jars. I'm gonna put the lid on. So right now I'm gonna have the pressure canner boiling, and once I put the lid on, I'm gonna have this on high. Once I see the steam coming out of the spout, which is already coming but it's not a steady steam yet, I'm gonna time it for 10 minutes. Once you see the steam coming out steadily like that, you can actually turn down the heat, because the goal is really just to boil out the air out of the canner, not to rapidly boil it as much. So I'm gonna just turn it down to medium and set the timer for 10 minutes. Time is up. We vented it for 10 minutes. Now I'm gonna put the weight onto this spout. And the next step is to heat this canner up to build up pressure enough for us to can. So we're not timing it yet, but I need to have the gauge showing me at least 10 to 11 pounds of pressure. So I'm gonna turn up the heat again, only because I want it to go up to pressure as quickly as possible. And then we'll go to the next step. Where I live, it's 11 pounds pressure, and I'm going to be canning for 75 minutes. So at this point, I'm setting it to the lowest setting of my stove, and I'm going to keep an eye on it just to make sure that it does not go below 11. And at this point, I can set my timer to 75 minutes. Okay, time is up. It did process on 12, 13 in between, and I'm getting ready to make some pizza. Perfect time to make pizza, by the way, because you have a nice warm environment here to get your dough moving. So now I'm gonna turn off my stove, and I will wait, not touching anything, until the pressure went down to 0, and then some more cooling. So usually what I do is I leave this alone for a whole hour, and then we'll take the lid off and see what we got. Be patient. It's been cooling for an hour or even more, but I'm gonna go to bed, so I don't want to leave it overnight. I'm gonna go ahead and open it. It's already on a 0 pressure. As a matter of fact, if I take this off, there's no steam coming out. However, it's still hot, so I'm gonna be carefully removing the top away from my face, because there's still some steam coming out of it. And I'm gonna remove the jars. It's still boiling a little bit. You can see here. So I'm gonna set these out on a towel and let them cool overnight, and we'll come back in the morning and finish them up. The next day, once they all cooled off, this is what it looks like. Nice and thick. I always take off the ring. I don't store with the ring. Then just wipe your jar clean. You don't want anything stuck on your jar in storage. And then put the date on it and the content, so I know this is not just plain beans. And this will go into storage in my basement. I hope you enjoyed this, and you will be also making your own canned products. Let me know in the comments what you are canning in June, because this is not a typical canning month. See you next time.